Good afternoon. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on my part series on the week that was college football history and review, the 1953 college football season. Now, I already ended yesterday discussing the college football regular season. I concluded with December 5th, 1953. So now today, I'll be talking about recapping the games that were played in the bowl season. Now I'm into the 1953 bowl season. It's not that many bowls I'm going to go over, but we'll do it anyway, obviously, during this part series, all the bowl games that I'll be recapping for the series. So we're going to start with the 1953 bowl games that was played in 1953. We're going to start with the Gator Bowl, where Texas Tech beat Auburn 35-13. Auburn's starting X unit, led by quarterback Vince Dooley, dominated first half to give Tigers a 13-7 lead at halftime. So on a 60-yard drive, Dooley dealt pitchouts to halfback Bobby Duke, fouled James for 44 yards until Duke wedged over from inches out. So after Red Raiders tied it 7-7 on halfback Bobby Cavazos' 5-yard run in the second quarter, Dooley hit in Jim Pyburn for 21 yards, zipped 15 yards on keeper, and scored on a 10-yard sweep. But the Tigers' second platoon Y unit couldn't cope with Texas Tech in Vic Spooner and Cavazos at the Raiders quarterback Jack Kirkpatrick connected with N. Paul Irwin on 53-yard touchdown to take a 14-13 lead. Spooner blocked punt, which led to another of Cavazos' 3 touchdowns, a 21-13 lead in the third quarter. Cavazos, who had 141 yards rushing on 13 carries, capped the Red Raiders scoring with a 58-yard run. In Spooner scored himself by nabbing mid-air fumble out of hands of Tech halfback Don Lewis to tally from 2-yard line. Next in the Orange Bowl, Oklahoma shut out Maryland 7-0 as Orange Bowl matched up Terps Jim Tatum with Bud Wilkinson, who had been brought to Oklahoma as chief assistant coach in 1947 by Tatum. So when Tatum left for supposed greener pastures of Maryland, Wilkinson, always favorite among Oklahoma hierarchy, was given Sooners a head coaching position, so pride was on line in this Miami matchup. Maryland, already crowned a national champion by the AP, was thwarted by Oklahoma's stubborn defense. The absence of injured quarterback Bernie Faloney, who missed all but a handful of hopeless plays late in the third quarter with bad knee. Terrapin saw fullback kicker Dick Bilski, who had 3 field goals during regular season, all longer than 41 yards, missed a 45-yards 3-point try in the first quarter. Maryland twice gained first downs inside the Oklahoma 2-yard line as the Terps were stopped inches from goal line on downs in first quarter. Fullback kicker Ralph Felton missed field goal from 13-yard line at start of the second quarter, so Tatum allowed that when we didn't score the first 2 times and close, there went the ball game. Maryland also suffered an interception to an OU end zone by Sooners halfback defensive back Larry Gregg. Oklahoma scored in second quarter when quarterback Gene Kalane completed 2 passes to midfield to launch 80-yard trip. Grigg went 11 yards. Kalane hit halfback Bob Burris for 10 yards, and Grigg took pitch out 26 yards to pay dirt. Now Kalane went out with separated shoulder late in the second quarter, and his injury turned Sooners offense over to less experienced quarterback Jack Van Poole. Stats ended up nearly even, as Oklahoma had 223 yards of offense to Maryland's 212 yards. So Wilkinson refused to claim national title for Sooners, and he called it a hell of a victory. Several Sooners felt afterward that their September conqueror, Notre Dame, number 2 in the final poll, might have been superior to Maryland. Next, in the Sugar Bowl, Georgia Tech beat West Virginia 42-19. So prior to the Sugar Bowl, several Southern writers complained that West Virginia was a hand-picked soft opponent for longtime SEC powerhouse Georgia Tech. So regardless, Yellow Jackets were so confident that quarterback Pepper Rogers admitted years later that he entered the game willing to toss aside Tech's normal option run attack to try to break 1939 Sugar Bowl passing record of TCU's Davey O'Brien. So Rogers, 15 of 19, 172 yards, added to Bill Brigman's 3 for 3 for 61 yards, helped break the Sugar Bowl team record by halftime. Yellow Jackets ends Sam Hensley, Jimmy Durham, and Henry Hare all caught touchdown passes, but Rogers, 16 of 26 for 195 yards passing, 16 of 26 for 195 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. Passing stats fell one completion short of O'Brien's mark. So, West Virginia coach Art Lewis moaned, "Our defense just fell apart, but Tech never threw that much all year." So, early game 15-yard penalty erased fullback Tommy Allman's 60-yard touchdown run, and that break helped deflate young Mountaineers. So, West Virginia University outrushed Engineers 223 yards to 170 yards and got touchdowns from halfback Danny Williams that trimmed second quarter deficit to 14-6, and Rogers' early third quarter fullback field goal came cherry on his Sunday and upped the score to 23-6. Allman and halfback Joe McConey tacked on meaningless fourth quarter touchdowns for West Virginia University. Next, Cotton Bowl, Rice beat Alabama 28-6. This edition of Cotton Bowl game became forever famous for Alabama's 12-man tackle. And during his Braves game, Rice halfback Dickie Mogul broke free at midfield on a apparent 95-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. Alabama captain and fullback Tommy Lewis bolted him helmetless from sideline and stunned Mogul with a drawing tackle. So referee Cliff Shaw immediately awarded touchdown to Mogul that gave Owls the 14-6 lead. Mogul rushed for magnificent 265 yards on 11 carries of Rice's 379 yards on the ground total, and also made touchdown runs of 79, 34 yards, respectively. Apologetic Lewis, who had scored early touchdown for the Tide of Alabama at end of the 49-yard drive, could only explain, "I'm just too full of Alabama." Later, Lewis began to understand there's going to be a big to do about this, huh? I know I'm going to hear about this the rest of my life. Yes, he would, as almost every Cotton Bowl telecast since that date has opened with film clip of Lewis dashing off bench to knock down Mogul. And finally, to conclude the Rose Bowl recap, conclude the bowl games that were played in 1953. In the Rose Bowl, Michigan State beat UCLA 28-20. Hard-hitting Bruins defense anchored by tackle Jack Elena banged loose 3 fumbles, and each led to touchdown by UCLA. So UCLA's tailback Paul Cameron, who had 152 yards passing, 9 of 22 passing, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, hit fourth down touchdown pass to wingback Bill Stitz between Michigan State defenders defensive back Billy Wells and center and linebacker Jim Neal. Cameron next plunged 2 yards to give Bruins early 14-0 lead. The turning point arrived late in the second quarter. Spartans in Ellis Duckett blocked Cameron's punt for touchdown to narrow halftime score to 14-7. So Michigan State's famed pony backfield rallied the third quarter touchdown drives of 78 yards and 14 plays to tailback Leroy Bowden's 1-yard run through left guard and 73 yards and 10 plays to halfback Billy Wells' 2-yard plunge. Wells scored, provided a 21-14 lead. So early in the fourth quarter, Cameron threw a 28-yard touchdown pass to end Rami Loud, who took pass away from quarterback defensive back Earl Morrow to trim Spartans' lead to 21-20. Wingback kicker Johnny Herman missed the tying conversion kick after clicking on both previously. Wells had been fixed up with actress Debbie Reynolds for publicity purposes during Bowl Week, must have been inspired by his date. Wells iced verdict in his MVP award by dashing 62 yards on punt return for touchdown, and preventing late UCLA's touchdown by hauling down Stitch, who got loose the pass from Campbell. So, 1953, that concludes the whole season that I've talked about, as far as the games that were played in the regular season, as well as the games that were played in the postseason. So now I'm going to look at everything else, like as far as like the top performance formula for 1953 was Notre Dame at number 1. The 1953 top opponents records, Purdue was number 1. In the 1953 out of conference records, Big Ten was 20-7. They were 1-0 in the bowl. Southeastern Conference was 28-17-1 with a 1-2 bowl record. The Southwest Conference was 17-11-1 with a 1-0 bowl record. Big 7 was 12-12-3, and they had one game that they won in the bowl game for the Big 7. The Atlantic Coast Conference was 16-18-2 with an 0-1 record in the bowl, and Pacific Coast had 11-16 record and an 0-1 bowl record. Now I'm gonna look at also the individual statistic leaders during the 1953 season. J.C. Caroline led the nation in rushing with 1,256 yards. 1,256 yards rushing, 194 attempts. He averaged 6.5 yards a carry. Cassie Johnson of Rice ran for 944 yards on 187 attempts, averaging 5.1 yards a carry. Ken Cardella for Arizona ran for 915 yards, 148 attempts, averaging 6.2 yards a carry. Bobby Watkins of Ohio State ran for 875 yards during the season, 153 attempts, averaging 5.7 yards a carry. Neil Warden of Notre Dame ran for 859 yards for 145 carries, 5.9 yards average per rush. Dickie Mogul for Rice ran for 833 yards rushing on 114 carries, and he averaged 7.3 yards a carry. Alan Michie of Wisconsin ran for 801 yards on 165 attempts, averaging 4.9 yards a carry. Larry Grigg of Oklahoma ran for 792 yards, 130 attempts, averaging 6.1 yards a carry. Bobby Cavazos ran for 757 yards on 97 carries. He averaged 7.8 yards a carry. This is an interesting stat right here. Chet Hanelak of Maryland ran for 77 times. He ran for 753 yards during the season. He averaged 9.8 yards a carry. 9.8 yards a carry. So that's the rushing yards for the statistical perspective with the running backs. The passing yards, Barbara Garrett led the nation. He was first of Stanford, 1,637 yards, 205 attempts, and 118 completions. After that, Zeke Bukowski was second. Paul Larson, Dick Carr, Sandy Lederman, Lamar McCann, Cotton Davidson, Pat Stark, Jamie Gramlin, and Tony Radders. That rounded out the list of players that was up for the best passing yards, the most passing yards, but Bobby Garrett was first. The receiving yards, Johnny Carson of Georgia was the the nation's leader in receiving yards with 663, 45 catches. Ken Buck was the second. Sam Morley, Dave McLaughlin, Floyd Sagely, John Allen, Gary Kneffick, Dale Hawk, Andy McCrelly, and John Steinberg. Okay, 1953 consensus All-American team. At end, you had Don Mahoney of Michigan State, Carlton Massey of Texas. The tackles were Stan Jones, Maryland, Art Hunter, Notre Dame. The guard, J.D. Roberts, Oklahoma, Crawford Mims, Mississippi. Center, Larry Morris of Georgia Tech. The backfield was Johnny Latner of Notre Dame, Paul Gill, Minnesota. Paul Cameron, UCLA. J.C. Caroline, Illinois. The other All-American choices was for the defense: Sam Morley of Stanford, Joe Collier of Northwestern, Steve Mellinger of Kentucky, Johnny Carson of Georgia, Ken Buck of Pacific. Tackle Jack Shanafelt, Pennsylvania, Jim Ray Smith of Baylor, John Hudson Rice, Ed Meadows Duke. The guard Milt Boldhart, Washington, Bob Fleck, Syracuse, Ray Corral, Kentucky, Steve Eisenhower, Navy, center Jerry Hilgenberg, Iowa, Matt Hazelton, California, Bob Orders, West Virginia, Bobby Garrett, Stanford, and Jackie Parker, Mississippi State, Cassie Johnson, Rice, Bernie Filoni, Maryland, and Alan Amici, Wisconsin. I might be wrong. This might be just the offense, not the defense. I might be, incorrect with that. I don't know. I might be wrong, might be right, but either way, these are the All-American choices. Sam Morley of Stanford, Joe Collier of Northwestern, Steve Mellinger of Kentucky, Johnny Carson, Georgia, Ken Buck, Pacific, Jack Shanafelt, Pennsylvania, Jim Ray Smith, Baylor, John Hudson Rice, Ed Meadows, Duke, Milt Boldhart, Washington, Bob Fleck, Syracuse, Ray Corral, Kentucky, Steve Eisenhower, Navy, Jerry Hilgenberg, Iowa, Matt Hazelton, California, Bob Orders, West Virginia, and Bobby Garrett, Stanford, Jackie Parker, Mississippi State, Cassie Johnson, Rice, Bernie Filoni, Maryland, and Alan Amici, Wisconsin. Now, I don't know if these guys played defense. Now, back then, players did play two positions, offense and defense. As if you follow a chance to follow me talking about the college football season of 1953. For example, Earl Morrall played defensive back as well as he's played quarterback. So this could be defensive players too, because back then players played multiple positions on offense, defense, maybe special teams, stuff like that. That's how it was back then. Played different positions back in the day, in the 50s. So that's basically it. Now we're gonna go for that. Now I'm gonna look at the Heisman Trophy vote. Heisman Trophy vote. In 1953, Johnny Latner won the Heisman. The senior halfback of Notre Dame, Johnny Latner, won the Heisman Trophy. In 1953, he finished with 1,850 votes. Paul Gill, the senior tailback of Minnesota, finished second with 1,794 votes. Paul Cameron, senior tailback of UCLA, finished with 444 votes. Bernie Filoni, senior quarterback of Maryland, finished with 258 votes. Bobby Garrett, senior quarterback of Stanford, finished with 231 votes. So this Heisman Trophy voting was very senior laden. A lot of seniors. And had running backs and quarterbacks in the picture in the mix to try to win the Heisman Trophy winner. But the winner went to Johnny Latner, senior halfback of Notre Dame, 1,850 votes, 1953. Now, other major winners that took place in 1953, as far as the college football season is concerned, is Maxwell Player of the Year was Johnny Latner, senior halfback Notre Dame. Outland lineman was J.D. Roberts. The senior guard, Oklahoma, Walter Camp. Back, as far as backs are concerned, the backs, Alan Amici, junior fullback, Wisconsin, Bernie Filoni, senior quarterback, Maryland, Paul Gill, senior tailback, Minnesota, Johnny Latner, senior halfback, Notre Dame. Rockney lineman, Stan Jones, senior tackle, Maryland, and AFCA coach of the year was Jim Tatum of Maryland. So that concludes, man, a look back at the 1953 college football season. It comes to a close. I hope you enjoyed everything that was talked about during that season. But the best is yet to come. Just getting started. There's going to be a long marathon of a part series about the seasons that were played during the college football history. You know, I'm going to do a lot of seasons and recaps. So take a ride with me. It's going to be a great ride, great journey, taking a look at the timeline of the college football seasons that was played during that period of years, 50s and beyond. So it's going to be a long, drag out, great marathon of a part series. Got great content coming up when it comes to this part series about college football history. The week that was college football history and review. The 1953 college football season. It comes to a close, so tomorrow I'll start a new season. I'll be talking about the 1954 college football season and take you on a journey through that period of time. And that's that, man. Just continue to support, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you can to support Rashad Mitchell's channel. Deeply appreciate it. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.